Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Coming home a bit today, at least in the first instance, we'll be checking out a story that's been developing in Ogun State. Now, the issue, you might have followed it over the weekend, and I think it was, there are many for whom it's an ongoing affair. Talking about the airports in Ogun State, there is no airport yet, but there are two proposed airports. One is an agro-cargo airport. The incumbent governor, the sitting governor, Dr. Viability, that is his focus. But there's also plans, indeed, initial developments for an passenger airport, and that was conceived by his immediate predecessor, Governor Amosun. So here we are now. Where are we? The governor in the news has said that his focus, his emphasis is going to be the agro-cargo airport because that fits in with development plans for Ogun State. But someone who knows the ins and out of the matter and exactly where we are is the Right Honorable Remy Hassan, Special Advisor to the Governor on Public Communications. Thank you very much for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much, Uncle Yori, and it's nice being here again.
Our pleasure to have you, sir. Now, first of all, maybe we should just go and start at the beginning. Yeah, I'm an Egbama myself. I'd like an airport in Ogun State. But what is now the challenge? Is it that we have too many? The governor, as I said in my intro, seems to think that the more sensible, the more beneficial project is going to be the agro-cargo airport. All this came about when a delegation from the National Assembly in its oversight functions came calling at Ogun State. So tell us, where are we? Is the cargo airport going to be developed, or is the passenger airport going to be developed?
Once again, thank you very much, Uncle Yori. Good morning, Nigerians, and wherever you're watching us from any part of the globe. The facts are straight and incontrovertible. The agro-cargo airport is the initiative of the state government, so it's a state project. But
well, when you say the initiative, it's something you inherited. It's something this administration inherited. But I read
government is a continuum.
It is.
Inheriting
it is indeed.
It doesn't mean that it's not a state project. It was conceived.
I understand you.
By the administration of Otumba Gbenga Daniel.
There you go.
And
2007.
Everything that it was conceived in 2006, but approval for the go-ahead by all regulatory and administrative agencies was sought in 2008. The only reason why the airport wasn't developed under that administration was because there was no fund.
Okay.
That was the only reason.
Okay.
And it was inherited by the immediate past administration. So the agro-cargo airport is a state project.
Sure.
But the Wasimi airport is a federal initiative that dates back to the 70s and early 80s. And the reason why that idea was conceived, at that time it was meant to be an airstrip, not even an airport. So it was conceived basically to take care of the foreseen congestion that will happen at the Muritala Mohammed International Airport. But nothing was done about that conception until the Bellevue air crash took place in 2005. That was when the urgency to do something about it was a lot higher. Then in 2010, when the Speaker of the House of Representatives then, Right Honorable Dimeji Bankole, was in the saddle, for the first time, money was put into that project. And the bit they were able to do was some semblance of acquisition and fencing of the place. But of course, that also brought up some issues, which privileged as the sitting House Committee Chairman on lands and housing in the House of Assembly then. Communities affected by that acquisition came to say their lands were illegally taken. And of course, we did some reconciliation. Something was paid, but maybe it didn't answer the question of adequacy and what have you. Now, when the last administration came in, for whatever reason, there was no touch of that project. And maybe what looks like a plan to look at the possibility of putting the project in another place? Maybe, just maybe. However, in 2012, when the Dana air crash happened, federal government was much more in a hurry again to develop that airport because they believed that if that airstrip were to have been in place, that distressed aircraft probably wouldn't have crashed in Lagos. Maybe it would have been able to do some bit of crash landing in the Wasimi airport. So that place is a federal project.
Okay.
The urgency of the state government to put state funds, all of what has been spent in that place as of today is in excess of 4 billion by the state government.
That is the agro,
No,
cargo.
okay. The Wasimi
the
airport,
Wasimi proposed
by
Wasimi.
the last administration.
The last administration sunk something like 4 billion.
Exactly.
It's a federal
money
project.
was paid for compensation. Money was paid for access road into the place.
Okay.
Money was paid for some runway development, consultancy, and what have you. Some in dollars, some in naira. But it didn't change the fact that that is a federal project.
Okay.
Now, the thinking of this administration, because part of our manifesto is to take us from the level of baby steps in our economic development agenda to giant steps. And we are doing everything possible to ensure that catalysts to our economic development are stimulated. And that agro-cargo airport is one of such because it's very crucial and central to our economic development plan. Recently, the African Development Bank decided to look towards Nigeria to establish some special agro-processing zone. And Ogun State was being considered as one of the states that is likely to be the beneficiaries because that initiative is industrialization of agriculture. And agricultural revolution is part of our central development agenda in Ogun State. So the agro-cargo airport is very crucial to our development because at the end of the day, that is what becomes for the greater good of a greater number. There's nothing wrong with the passenger airport at Wasimi. We're only saying that if we have the privilege of prioritizing, which we have as a government, we have chosen to stay with the development of the agro-cargo airport. And we're continuing with that. That's a state project.
Okay, and therein lies some of the undertones that give the ordinary member of the public a bit of disquiet as to, against the background of what you already said, that government is a continuum.
It's a continuum.
You know, now the passenger airport at Wasimi, you've always known about it. I mean, was it handed over to you properly?
You don't hand over what doesn't belong to you. It's a federal project.
Okay, that I see.
You understand now? It's a federal project.
I see. So Ogun State, theoretically could actually be benefiting in a best case scenario from two airports.
Exactly.
One being passenger, the other being agro-cargo.
Exactly.
And this administration feels that the more pressing one in terms of prioritizing is the agro-cargo airport.
Exactly.
Because this fits in with your, especially agricultural development projects, plans for the region. What is the state of completion right now of the agro-cargo airport?
You know, sometimes when you want to...
or maybe development is what I should say.
Bring any statement into the public space, you need to have the benefit of hindsight to know that there are people who have access to such information. One of the excuses of the last administration was that the location of that agro-cargo airport is experiencing a lot of encroachment by land speculators and what have you. A government not able to arrest encroachment? Give me a break. Who does that? As of now, we are clearing that site so that all the locations within the precinct of the airport that will serve as terminal buildings, runways, and what have you is being cleared now.
Okay.
And the contractor on site has given a 20-month completion period. So we're looking at this time, 2023.
Did you speed up action as a result of the visit of the National Assembly panel, or was this already in the works?
As a matter of fact, when the African Development Bank initiative came, the administration already has it as part of the development agenda. But of course, when the African Development Bank Special Agricultural Processing Zone initiative came up, it became more pressing. This was like 2-3 months ago.
Okay.
So this one that is happening now is, to me, more like a distraction from the main focus. The focus is that airport. It has to be done. And when it is done, it's going to be for the benefit of not just Ogun State, the entire Southwest,
Indeed.
and Nigeria.
And you say all other things being equal, the time of completion is what?
Given by the contractor, 20 months.
Funds, the funding, it's a state initiative. It's a state
It's a state
project.
initiative. Like the governor rightly positioned, or posited rather, if the federal government chooses to support the project, we will welcome such support.
Okay.
We're not against it.
Okay.
But if we have the chance to decide where such funding will be directed, it is towards the agro-cargo airport at this time.
I read it, and I think I saw the governor displaying 2 separate approvals for the airport.
One from the Federal Ministry of Transportation and the other one from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority,
So,
giving the go-ahead that all of the designs submitted, the geotechnical survey and what have you, has met the minimum condition, therefore it could go ahead.
Okay.
That has been sought well over 13 years ago.
Okay. At this stage, Mr. Ajibode has called in. Good morning, Mr. Ajibode, in what I believe?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I just want to make a small contribution to the what you people are saying the other time. The first accident in Wasimi, the first accident in plane crash in Wasimi is in 70s. Either the I think is either Air France or Lufthansa. That is the first accident happened.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. I can remember at that time we are too small at that time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for calling in. But you know the conversation we're having right now.
I know the point he picked his question for, but I will answer him.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'm sure when I mentioned the issue of Bellevue, he thought I meant Bellevue was the first.
Okay.
The initiative of the airstrip was in the 70s. Maybe it's because of this Lufthansa air crash that he's mentioning that initiative came about. But nobody revisited that idea until Bellevue crash happened in 2005. So that we situate things.
Yes, and that's the point that you were making, you know, that, okay, that's the Wasimi one. This government is saying that even if it were 3-4 airports, by all means, but prioritizing what we have now is the plans for 2.
Between New York and New Jersey. New Jersey alone has well over 3 or 4 airports. And New York, I can't even count how many they have. And they're so close. It makes aviation movement a lot easier.
You know, this ties in, really, we're talking about the airport now, but I think the airport is considered not so much as a prestige project from what you're telling me, but because there's a master plan for agricultural development. And this movement is going to
Very
be
crucial.
It's going to be crucial to it. You even say it goes beyond Ogun State.
It goes beyond Ogun State.
Or the
if
entirety
we're
of
the only one being considered as a location for the special agro-processing zone, we have no reason to disappoint those who saw us as a major latency.
Okay, now the former governor, the predecessor of Governor Abiodun, his connections in Abuja are well known. You know, it is thought that there are very, very strong connections in Abuja. I have heard talk such as that project, that is the Wasimi project, was essentially almost like a secret project, understanding that there was even been some talk that it was not actually handed over, but very little can go on in a state without a government being aware of it. So somehow in that way, that roundabout way, is where this one actually comes about. Given the assumed influence of the predecessor of Dr. Abiodun, do you see any interference coming from the federal?
There is no worst case scenario in this matter. Either scenario is best for Ogun State. But the preferred for us is that the other airport, the agro-cargo airport, should continue. So if the federal government decides to continue with the Wasimi airport, it doesn't stop us as a state from carrying on with the project that we already conceived and we believe is going to help our agricultural revolution in the state. So either way, head we win, tail we win.
But what you don't want to happen is it being prioritized to a place where only one please at this time, and that one is Wasimi. That won't go down well.
No, don't get it wrong. Wasimi is a federal government project. You don't tell federal government how to spend its money.
Okay, so you don't, well, you did say that if you get any funds from the federal government, but
if the federal government is willing to support our initiative in the agro-cargo airport, we will welcome it.
Thank you very much to the federal government, but willy-nilly, it's a state project, and you still will continue, with the development.
It only means that we have to look inward for more funding options.
Mr. Ola, good morning, sir. Calling in from Ogba.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
I have an issue. I don't know why every state governor in Nigeria wants to build an airport. Honestly, it will appear there is something more to this. We have an airport in Lagos. Federal government is trying to build another one there, and state government still wants to go ahead with the cargo airport, cargo airport. What agriculture are we talking about in Ogun State? We just saw what happened recently when they blocked trailers from bringing food to us. I will expect government of Ogun State to take agriculture as a priority. Get seeds, get seedlings, give to local government chairman. Let's go to the rules and trainings of Ogun State. Give them the seeds. If you have land in your backyard or in the front of your house, or you have a farm, plant vegetables, plant tomato, plant pepper, so that Yoruba nation will not continue to be at the mercy of the Hausa people. This should be the priority of Ogun State government.
Okay, Mr. Ola, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Ola. Let me just take the question that you asked and put it to Honorable Remi Azan. What agriculture are we talking about, Papa?
All right. Nigeria is the #1 cassava producer worldwide. And in Nigeria, Ogun State is the #1 producer of cassava. And we have taken it one step further, just for Mr. Ola to have some benefit of information that he may not have. But some of this information are there in the public space. Our agricultural revolution in Ogun State has indeed achieved a lot, both in crop and livestock. We have done so much, especially with our anchor borrowers program, which brings off-takers and outgrowers together. And at the end of the day, nobody grows anything that perishes on the farm, because those who are ready to buy them are already standing by. If he doesn't know, that is in the know already to most people. We're doing the same thing with livestock. We're doing the same thing with fishing, commercial fishing. We're also doing the same thing in rice production. And just recently, we signed an agreement with a French company to start a major dairy farm that will revolutionize cattle rearing in this country, in Ogun State. So all of these have put us on the map as doing something reasonable agriculturally. And our governor recently won the award of being the best governor in agriculture by a particular organization recently. So that means that there is something we're doing right. The African Development Bank wouldn't have looked at us as being a potential site for their special agro-processing zone if there is nothing we're doing about agriculture. So if Mr. Ola doesn't know, and others who may not also know, that is what is going on. And we're not just stopping. We keep doing more every day. And we believe that that agro-cargo airport is pivotal to the revolution that we have in our agricultural development.
Mr. Yakub, thank you very much for holding on in Dokwemu. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Siviori, good morning, and then good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Let me begin by saying that your guest says that if Ola doesn't know, and then some of us that does not know as well. I totally agree with Ola. And then I have reason for saying that kudos to Lagos State government. I repeat, kudos to Lagos State government. They are doing a great job in terms of infrastructure. Chiefly, I want to point at that, and then I want to ask your guys a question. I'm very sure he's very, very comfortable with it for local government in particular. A very, very big local government indeed. I'm particularly very, very comfortable with that very particular local government because a lot of people work here in Lagos and stay in Ogun State, very close to Lagos State, especially Ifo. There is one road in the Ifo local government at Oja Ifo town, go. Because that very particular road leads to Lagos State government, Lagos State. Because if you pass through that road, it is not motorable. And then every election, I repeat, every election, these people will come to that area, campaign to them. They are going to put that road in order. Especially the speaker of Ogun State comes from that very particular local government, and then the road still remains bad. Because if you are saying you are talking about cargo, sir, with due respect, how do you go to transport your crops from that kind of a road to the airport that you are intended to build? So you have to look into that infrastructure rather than telling us that I want to build the airport. Yes, it's a welcome development, but we need to do it like Lagos State is doing. Thank you and God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
Let me
Yakub,
address that straight away. As of today, there are not less than 40 road projects ongoing in Ogun State. We have a challenge as a state. Our proximity to Lagos is both a blessing and a major challenge because all of the
I'm happy
overflow,
you didn't say curse. It's a blessing and a major challenge.
It's a major challenge and it's also a blessing. All of the overflow comes to us in Ogun State, and that's why you see that quite a number of those who eke out a living in Lagos actually reside in Ogun State. In that Ifo local government that he mentioned, there are 2 roads projects that are going on there, and that means that we are taking it one step after the other. This is an administration that is just less than 2 years in office. And we should understand that all of this cannot happen in one fell swoop. We will get to that point.
But it's definitely
it will be addressed.
It will
definitely.
Because as he points out,
as a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, the presiding officer of the Ogun State House of Assembly is from that local government.
Indeed.
And I believe he will be able to wield 1 or 2 influence to ensure that certain critical infrastructure in his local government are addressed.
Okay.
Therefore, our brother from Dokwemu that just spoke, please, whatever it is that you have seen that is going on in Lagos, kudos to Lagos State government as well. But we are not doing badly in Ogun State at all. Maybe you need to take a closer look at us and appreciate the much that we've been able to do, judging from the fact that our purse is very lean.
Mazi Okorafo, thank you for holding on, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess, in the studio.
Yeah.
But you see, when we talk about airport, I don't know why other people complain about airport. See, if I have my way, everybody, all states should have their own airport, whether local or international. Why? Listen, if you check very well now, looking at the nature of Nigerian roads, and looking at terms of insecurity everywhere. Now, do you know that airport helps to develop a place? Like that, as I'm talking to you now, I hate traveling by road. But people will tell you that I've said that if you want me to travel and come to your place, give me a ticket. If you don't want to, forget it. Because there are certain age people will reach. You don't need to be separating yourself so that if you travel from Aba to Lagos by road, you know how many hours it will take you? You see, some of this, we stress ourselves a lot by traveling on road every day. It's affecting your own body system. What does it take? Close your eyes, go to the airport, enter airport, and it is a benefit to also help your own head. Your head. You can even travel from maybe about you have an airport, you go to Lagos and finish your meeting and come back. 1, you have saved hotel accommodation, you have saved food accommodation, you have terms of transportation, you have saved all these things. So people are talking about airport. Airport is very, very important. If I have my way, all the states should have their own airport, make it to be international level. Whether it is from A to B is at the state closure, have an airport. It's very, very necessary. Look, we have to develop. We should not be thinking about the 40s, 50s, 80s, or 60s, or 70s. We're talking about the jet age. We're talking about the digital age.
Okay, Mazi, thank you very much. Appreciate your calling in, Mazi. Indeed, most Nigerians will also probably think like that. But then experts talk about viability. It's one thing to have an airport. How viable? In fact, as you know, that conversation on viability even extends to the existence of some states altogether. So it's not a passenger airport that the state government, the Ogun State government, is focused on right now. It's an agro-cargo airport. Yeah. And you've explained that the passenger one in Wassim is a federal project. Let development there continue. Ogun State will be the beneficiary.
Why not?
And if the federal government was minded to adding its shoulder to that of Ogun State in the development of this.
Our arms are open to receive that help.
Indeed. So that's the way it is there. Now, let's address the question of viability of even the allied airport. I know you might not want to comment one way or the other on the other.
No, I will comment, definitely.
So let's look at the matter of how viable are these things so that they don't become white elephants.
I understand your fears, and you have only asked so that the fears of our people too, who are listening from their various homes, will also be allayed. I was in that administration when that airport project was conceived, although it has been conceived a year before I joined the administration, but the process didn't complete.
The Wasimi one? Or
no, the agro-cargo airport. The Wasimi
Okay.
project, like I told you, is a 1970-80 initiative. Now,
where is the siting of the agro? Agro.
It's in Ikperu.
Ikperu.
In Ogun State. Now, one of the things that any project that you want to embark upon requires, if you want to be a reasonable investor in any kind of project at all, you must carry out a feasibility and viability studies. And that administration didn't just do it with one consultant. They did it with 2 consultants. And both reported that it was viable. And it is still even viable today because activities that have been happening around agricultural matters have even made it a lot more urgent than it was back then. So the question of viability has been answered by the reason of that study. And it has even been made a lot more viable by what we're doing in our agricultural quest in Ogun State today. So the airport is very, very viable.
One moment, please. Mr. Ade in the UK, thank you very much, sir, for holding on all this while. Please go ahead now.
I can hold on for 1 month because it's King of Presenter. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
And I greet your guest there.
Yes, Honorable
Number one, Honorable, I greet you, Honorable.
Thank you very much, sir.
Let me tell you, cargo airport is much more important than passenger airport because the revenue it will bring and the problem it will solve for farmers in the southwest, it will be great a lot. People are complaining that there's a particular road in Ifo. I'm not from Ogun State, but what of the last administration who spent 8 years? They see the road that they are complaining about Ifo. A man who has just come for 2 years is having a project of future. In my state, those things. When the airport was conceived, people were thinking, what is this? We don't need it. But today, everybody is thanking God. I will fly from here. I've never fly Lagos to Ibadan Road since 2009. I've never. I always take a flight. Once I land in Abuja, I fly to Akure. I never fly there. I don't know how that road looks like. So the airport is very important. But the cargo, very, very essential. So they should not condemn it at all. So I encourage the government to go ahead with the cargo airport and God will provide for him to complete it. So that they can do the road later. But that airport should go ahead. I support it. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Chief Ade in the UK there. Someone sees it like that. It's all about, because to need an airport, it must be in the nature of an agricultural revolution. It just can't be a prestige project. And this is what you have sort of assured on that. Look, this in, the main output of Ogun State, you said cassava is very, very important.
Cassava is the number 1 for us. And we're not just limiting it to the product alone, we're looking at the entire value chain
exactly.
of cassava.
It's not just about Gary.
If you export the raw cassava, the benefit is less.
Okay.
But if you try to do all the essential processing, you localize all of the earnings and only send out what is much more valuable to you at the end of the day and put more money in the pocket of the farmers.
Talking about this cassava that you just brought up as one of the main things, are we by any chance, well, when I say, is Ogun State by any chance, the major producer, the lead producer of cassava, or are there other areas?
I mentioned that to you earlier. Nigeria is the number 1 producer of cassava in the whole world.
And who's responsible?
And in Nigeria, Ogun State is number 1.
So, okay.
10% of the entire cassava production in this country is from Ogun State.
Is made
so that has put us in a vantage position to take the initiative of others.
Okay, Engineer Abiola, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for allowing me some minutes.
Sure.
Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. The project you're talking about here is a laudable one. Apparently, I don't reside in the country. I've been in diaspora for about 20 years. But looking backward, I intend to give back to the country where I came from. Hence, I've acquired myself a lot of land, which I want to do farming with. Now, I don't know if this is a platform to hear this. And that project has exposed me to so many things a lot of farmers are encountering in this country. The land is located in Ilaro. Unfortunately, the road to Ilaro from Lagos, I'm sure the Honorable knows what I'm talking about. It's nothing to write home about. Now, if you have an airport in Ibero, yes, a wonderful project, but how do you then move things from your farm through a very bad road onto the airport? We need to address one thing at a time. Yes, I am not going to be partisan by saying this administration hasn't done that, this administration hasn't done that, but we need to take things one thing at a step. The road leading to Ilaro from Papa, the Honorable Chairman knows what I'm talking about. It is nothing to write home about.
Okay, let's address that. Engineer Abiola, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. Let
me quickly address that. Our developmental pillars is rested on 5 legs, and it is based on the acronym of our state anthem, ISHEA. I for infrastructure, S for social welfare and social well-being, E for education, Y for youth development, culture and religion, and A for agriculture. Now the first one there, which is also very germane and very crucial, that we also take as priority, is infrastructure. Now, as Engineer Abiola has expressed his fears, may I bring it to your notice that one of the first things the governor did is to take up 3 major arterial roads that are in the 3 senatorial districts, wherein it is now linked to those roads that we will now be pursuing thereafter. One is Ekpe-Ijebode Road, which is going to completely decongest this Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, especially when the Dangote refinery and other industry in the Eco-Atlantic City comes up. The kind of traffic you experience there, that has already seen that ahead and provided a 14-lane road, just so that there will be no congestion. We also have the Abeokuta-Shagamu Interchange Road. That is more than 50% complete as of today. Then we have the Papalan to Ilaro Road that he mentioned. The challenge we have with that is federal government is yet to cede that road to us because they are also thinking of doing the road themselves, but they have not started doing it. But in the absence of that road being fixed, those going to Ilaro can still use the alternative route to Abeokuta and still get home without having to go through that. But of course, we feel for all of the farm settlements along that stretch. So we believe that any moment from now, is either the federal government is there starting the project or we moving. Aside from that, we have in all the local government, one major road project or the other, at least. There are local government that have had 4, there are those that have had 3. One local government will have at least one major road project that is ongoing. That is to let you know that we understand that the infrastructural gap is so wide that bridging it is not as easy as.
And you actually have an overview of it all.
Yes, they won't judge our performance by effort, but by result. And we are not shying away from that. We will bring results to the table. So that at the end of the day, you will see that we have done well over time.
Isiaka Imam in Jos. Good morning, sir. Isiaka Imam in Jos. Good morning.
Hello.
Go ahead, please. Isiaka, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Yori and your guest.
Good morning, sir. Quickly, please.
I'm Isiaka Imam calling from Jos. I want to commend the Ogun State government for at least proposing this idea of cargo airport. if we were to be passenger airport, I would be among those that would condemn the airport, because we have several airports across the country. In some states, I don't want to mention any states, that are virtually not functioning. It is only when the governor is traveling out of the state that you will see the airport working. I think the idea of cargo airport should be commended, but I still want to appeal to the state government to partner with other states, particularly in the southwestern district. They should have a real system that will connect all the states together. It will help in bringing down those agricultural programs to at least a point, and it will serve as a boost to the revenue of the state. So that's my
contribution. I want to thank you very, very much. Yeah, well, how about that idea about, since you said that this is not just going to benefit Ogun State, as you said, the entire Southwest. So I imagine that because usually you people can work together, I'm talking about the heads of Southwest can work together, no doubt there would have been some conversations along the lines of what Isaka Imam is saying.
No doubt about that. The truth of the matter is that Dawn has never shy away from
a development agenda for Western Nigeria.
And this network of rails to link the entire Southwest is part of the master plan of Dawn. And some of the governors are favorably disposed to it. I'm sure that within the shortest possible time, they will come up with an initiative that will kickstart this. It's just that railway, under the present structure we run, is exclusive to the federal government. But of course, if we are part of the federation, we should also be able to convince the government at the center to see the line along which we are reasoning as a state.
Okay. Mr. Adurogboye, calling in from Ikeja Airport. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Go right ahead, please.
Well, my contribution, just like the last caller, make appeal. I want to make an appeal that they need to link up the proposed airport with the rail line, not road. Because the road are already overloaded, they are all bad. Particularly the road from Songo, Lagos, Songo Aziz. Very bad, unmotorable. They just need to do something. Having it as they are building the airport, they should link up with the rail so that the cargo will not be going by road, but by rail. The roads are bad.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Adurogboye. It's just that you didn't have a cutaway because Right Honorable Remi Hassan was nodding enthusiastically,
but
twice.
The only information I have for him is that that particular location is assessed by very good link roads, and we still intend to put more roads in there. You have the Ilison-Agowoye Road, the Benin-Shagamu Express, you have the Peru Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and all of that. So the airport is well located and easily accessed by road. But the idea of linking it with a rail line is not a bad one. And of course, as a state, we are always going to look at what will optimize our investment. We'll be good at looking at that as well.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Remi Hassan, because what you've explained to us now is that two airports, not exactly in contention, but two airports proposed in Ogun State. The one that the state government is really focused on and is working with is the cargo one. The other one is a passenger airport. It's under federal control and all of that. By all means, let them do it. So really, there isn't much cause for fireworks of any sort. You said that heads we win, tails we win.
Sure.
That kind of a thing. But it's just that in terms of development, I can see, that because this is an Ogun State initiated project, of course, that's where the focus is going to be.
Sure.
If it so pleases any other authority to be developing the passenger one, that's all well and good, but nothing will stop the focus of the state government.
Since we have the approval for it.
Since you already have approvals, and so you don't expect anybody to...
Notwithstanding that a chunk of our resources has been sunk into these other federal projects, we want to go ahead with the one that belongs to us, which is crucial to our economic development agenda.
Mr. Obafemi, good morning, sir. Mr. Obafemi, good morning. Mr. Bafemi, are you there? There must be a slight... Mr. Bafemi. Go right ahead, please. Mr. Bafemi.
I want to thank the initiators of this agro-airport.
You want to find the location of the tank?
I want to thank those that initiated this agro-airport in the state.
Okay.
And the government of Mr. Viability for wanting to ensure that it takes off. We all know that Nigeria depends on crude oil for revenue generation very largely. And the whole world is trying to emphasize the use of crude oil. We need to look more inward now because of the future. Surely in Nigeria, they are agrarian. And if a government is now coming up to encourage agriculture and be planning ahead to ensure that whatever we produce from our farms can find market externally, I think that kind of government should be supported and encouraged. And that is why I'm thanking Abiodun for ensuring that it's going to be possible. Yes, there's something bad in having airport at Wasili. I will support us having as many as we can. Whether it is going to have the take-off of the citizens or the state. I think this way. I can understand that administration of it's so many things to ensure that Ogun State can become to Lagos State what New Jersey is to New York today in terms of revenue generation. And that was what brought up the agro-airport, that was what brought up the DC port, that was what brought up the LNG, that was what brought up bringing in them to Ogun State. And the refinery that has now been frustrated to Lagos State. If you go to where you will be Ogun State. We need to encourage this government. And I want to plead with the federal government to encourage the government of Abiodun to ensure that this agro-airport takes off as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your call. We're fast running out of time. Now, you said something, we're going to have to look inward because it's, a self-initiated project in the state, Governor Dapo Abiodun. Is this going to be tightening of the belts all sorts of ways? Because you people already have a reputation for revenue drive in that place. You let it be said. You must have heard of it. Because all sorts of ways
it depends on which side you are speaking from. Because if I write down 6 here, you can be seeing 9 from your own end. And that's based on the perception that you have.
Okay.
There is nobody that has been overtaxed in the context of our revenue drive. It's just that we are opening new vista for ourselves to ensure that largely untapped areas of revenue generation are now tapped into so that we don't give room for leakage in the entire system. So that shouldn't be misconstrued for
snapping up all potentials for revenue enhancement.
Now there are options to fund such projects. It can be contractor financed if you are able to convince the contractor of the repayment plan of the state, and there can also be investors in such airport development. The owner of Gatwick Airport in UK is a Nigerian. What if such person decides to say, okay, I want to take up this project and I'll fund it. Just let me have an idea of how I'll get back my money. So options abound on what we can do. But like we rightly said, if federal government agrees with us and say, this will also have an overall positive impact on Nigerian GDP, let's also put something into it, we will welcome it with gratitude.
I want to leave it there, but I know there's a lot more to be said about our developments in our beloved state.
So much to talk about.
Indeed.
So much to talk about.
Thank you for
We
coming
have constructed more roads in this less than 2 years in terms of distance than any previous administration. That tells you that by the time we'll be 4 years in office, we will have tripled, if not quadrupled, whatever it is that we made on ground. We have constructed more houses than the entire previous administration from 1976 to date, and we still hope to do more. 5,000 is our target for this tenure, and that means that we have a long walk towards ensuring that we leave a lasting legacy.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Honorable Remi Hassan, Special Advisor to the governor, that is Dr. Abiodun of Ogun State, on public communications. Thank you once again. Okay, stay with us, please. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And well, actually, maybe there's a sense in which you can say we're sort of late to the party. Maybe I'll be talking about irreplaceable Nigerian women in connection with the International Women's Day. Well, we have in our studio in I almost said Ogun State. No, because we've just come out of Ogun State. We have in our studio in Abuja Honorable Taiwo Oluga. She's a member of the House of Representatives, indeed representing Ayedade Irewole Ishokan Federal Constituency. Madam, I got all three of them right? Good morning to you.
You are very correct, Uncle Yari.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
It's good, we didn't have you, when the whole sort of, women, the Day of Women was marked, but here we are now. I thought we might look at it. Are you happy with the development of women? Take, for instance, in your area, legislature. Are you happy with the number of women and indeed the output of women in that area?
Yeah, thank you, Okuyori. Let me start by congratulating our women out there. The Happy International Women's Day. This year, March 8th, last year, just yesterday, marked the 103rd edition that we have been celebrating International Women's Day. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me, am I happy? Yes, I am happy. Why? Because foundation has been laid, and we are only consolidating on the foundation. We are not where we are supposed to be, but we are moving. 1,000 steps, by the time you remove a step, is less than 1,000. So we are not discouraged by what we see, the number of women in governance yet, the number of women in assemblies, both at the houses of assembly and the National Assembly. But we believe that more can be done so that we can be more happy.
Okay.
And we have this solace. The country like Rwanda, Uganda, they have gotten there, and Nigeria is almost there too. So Nigerian women, with our efforts, we believe that we are getting there.
Okay. When you look at Nigerian women, of course we're talking about women around the world, but we have to, come down to Nigerian women. The strides that they are making in public office, in public service, you've just said that you're quite happy, but when it comes to politics, it's felt to be a tough, men's only affair. It's a different thing if you're in public service by appointment, but I don't know what your thoughts are on that. We're giving our cultural backgrounds. It might not be easy, it is felt by some, for women to be as actively engaged in politics as their main folk. First of all, do you subscribe to that idea, or do you think that's an exaggeration?
The narrative is changing, Onkuyori. Even if you go down the history, you find that during Queen Aminat, you find out that she led and she reshaping the society then. Come down to Efusheton in Southwest. So this is the pointer that women have been involved. So saying that women are not involved because of our culture, because of norms, because of our beliefs, no. I believe we need to dwell more on awareness. We need to do more sensitization. We need to enlighten our women the more, especially training our girls, children, to become women and to take up leadership position because of the potentials women possess. We possess so many things. Women are multi-talented. Women are blessed. We are competent. We have capability. We can give joy. We can give accountability. Any assignment given to us, you can be rest assured that it will be delivered properly. So all this is a pointer. And when you find out the number of women in the executive, in the legislature, we are working on it, not only by saying this in the here, but the Constitutional Amendment Committee is ongoing, and the leadership, they have tried that all the women at this 9th National Assembly are members of the Constitutional Review Committee. What does that mean? It means if you are not there, you cannot speak. Not like on the 8th Assembly. Uncle Yori and our listener, at the 8th Assembly, we only have one female at the Constitutional Review Committee.
Okay.
So it was difficult for her. It was difficult for her when it comes to navigating, because you know this is a number of game. But now we have more than 20 of us at the Constitutional Review Committee. We have the he for she male that they are with us 100%, and we are trying as much as possible to work on other men, so that when we get to the state to cross the river, we have our voice at the top. And I want to say thank you at this junction to our development partners. Our CSO, they have been doing wonderful jobs.
Okay. Well,
and
Madam,
we are very, very optimistic
Madam,
that we are getting there.
Time is not our friend, but thank you very much for making time to come on to our program. Honorable Taiwo Oluga, member of the House of Representatives, representing the Ayidade, Irewole, and Ishokon community. Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking time off to speak with us this morning. We appreciate your time. Okay then, so that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.